Okay, let's get started. So we're making Dragonback today. Let me grab a couple samples here. Okay, so Dragonback is made from European 4-in-1 with half Persian 3-in-1 edging. And then you have another, you kind of stitch it up together on the top. So the top is this ridge. It's got a really definite ridge, if you can see that. There's another weave that is very similar. Actually, that's not to Dragonback, and it's called Persian Dragon Scale. And it does not have this ridge. It's a puffy weave, but they're really easy to confuse, and it's very easy to make Persian Dragon Scale when you're intending to make Dragonback. So, all right, let's maybe not have my hair in the picture. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's as good as we're gonna get. I don't have, I thought I had an example of Persian Dragon Scale, but I don't see it. Ah, here we go. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but this is puffy. You see there's no definitive ridge. That's what makes it different. So as compared to this relatively flat weave. And you can also see that the top and bottom rings are different. They orient differently in the weaves. So, okay. Is there anybody who does not know how to make European 4-in-1?
Nope.
Okay. So I suppose you could do this one of two different ways. I always start with European 4-in-1 and then add the edging on the sides. I suppose you could do it the other way. I've never done it that way. Like do the HP 3-in-1 and then put it together with European 4-in-1. So one thing you want to think about before you start weaving your European 4-in-1 is where you want your colors to be. So this particular one has 3 different colors. Okay. It's got the dark purple, which is the European 4-in-1, I believe. And then the matte gray. And then it's got this, it's lavender. You probably look silver on your screen. The ones that stitch up. So just kind of think about where you want things to be. I'm going to be using 3 or 4 different colors here so that we can keep straight which piece is what. So for right now, we just need to be closing rings and, or however you make European 4-in-1, go ahead and make a strip of European 4-in-1. I tend to pre-close my rings and then weave that way. That's totally up to you. And this weave does shrink your European 4-in-1, meaning that you will need a longer strip of European 4-in-1 because when you start adding the edging, it squishes it. I think it's about 1/3. But I I didn't measure it and I should have. I apologize. So we can just make a short piece. It's easy to add on to this weave. So we can make a short piece of European 4-in-1 and then start edging it. Can everybody see what I'm doing? Whoa, don't do that. Let me see if I can get this a little more centered. There we go. Is that better? It's probably better.
Yes.
It's looking pretty good.
Good. And the quality is okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm going to close about 40 rings. I've got 23 done.
Jody, what rings are you using? What size?
Oh, I'm sorry. I never said that. I am using 16 gauge. That's 1.6 millimeter wire with a 5/16 inch internal diameter. You can use, so that aspect ratio is 5.2 about. So anything in that range. Does anybody need me to list out rings you can use? There's also a graphic on the Facebook page, which I could. Mail says it'll work at 5. Yeah, Kara, it will, because the 18 gauge 7/32 is, I think, 4.7. So probably, so somewhere around the 5 range. Pretty sure it's 4.7. Let me double check. Yeah. So 18 gauge 7/32 is aspect ratio 4.7. Sorry, I'm shaking everything. Okay. Okay. All right. So does everybody have like a pile of rings you can make 4-in-1 with? Okay. I am going to do my center in a different color. So however long of a strip of European 4-in-1 you can make, go ahead and do that now. Watch your rings on the end because this aspect ratio is pretty big for European 4-in-1 to stay put, so they will flip around. And that will matter when we start making the edge or start doing the edging. And if I go too fast, you guys let me know so I can slow down, or if you have questions, feel free to just speak up. Would 5.4 work? It will work. I don't know how easy it will be. That's a little bit big. Somebody asked if aspect ratio of 5.4 would work. Be a 1/4 inch. It'll work. It'll just be loose. It'll be looser than what I'm showing. So where do we have people from today? I'm in Houston, Texas. I'm a remote employee for the Ring Lord. Where's
I'm in
everybody else from?
California.
Huh?
I'm in San Diego, California.
Cool.
I'm in Prince George, Virginia.
Oh, cool.
From
Side of
Eastern
Belleville,
North
Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
Southern Ohio.
Nice.
Pasco, Washington.
I'm from North Carolina. We've been in Texas for about 6 years, but I'm from the eastern part of North Carolina. So it's very strange living in Texas, or in South Texas, where there's like no seasons except for like a week of what they call cold here, which is like 50 degrees. It's not cold.
I know my husband was complaining that it was near freezing in San Diego the other night. It was 47.
It just cracks me up. People that walk around in parkas when it's 50 here, and I just laugh. Because I'm over here in like capri pants and flip flops, and maybe a just sweat jacket or whatever. But it's so funny to me what people, when you haven't actually lived in the cold. In North Carolina, I mean, it gets down into the 20s, maybe a little colder for a few days the part that I'm from, but it's not cold like it gets, up north or whatever.
I bet you the Canadian has thoughts on how cold it is.
I bet. Yeah, it's funny because Nick, our general manager, so everybody else obviously lives in Ontario. And so he's like, oh, he'll say, oh, it's snowing here, or let me show you the parking lot. And I'm like, wow. And
I only wish it was 50. It's about 38 here.
my goodness. And then, we used to be out of Saskatchewan. And I don't know if it gets colder there than it does in Ontario, but like, I just, when I would talk to Bernice, it was cold.
I lived in Wyoming after moving from Texas, and it felt cold. But I was walking to school one day, and there were people from Alaska still with shorts and sandals on, and it was below 0.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
Yeah. My blood did not get very thick.
Yeah, I had a friend whose husband was from New York State, upper part of New York State, I think. And they lived in North Carolina, and he would walk around in shorts and a t-shirt in the dead of
It's a balmy 38 here in Michigan right now. Hoodie weather.
I think we lost your audio. I see your lips moving.
Must be my fault. I unmuted and then we lost her.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Mhm.
Hey. Okay, I switched to the webcam audio, so we'll see if that stays. Jennifer, are you AC5, Jennifer?
Heck yes.
Oh, yay. Hi.
How you doing?
It's good. And nice to meet you.
Hi, neighbor.
Yeah, really. You guys are close.
If it wasn't for COVID, I'd be
I
dragging you
know.
for coffee.
I know. That would be so cool. Yeah, hopefully this will end soon. We'll see.
Or as soon as it ends, I'm back out on the road. So
Yeah, you travel a lot.
yeah.
A lot. All right, is everybody done with their European 4-in-1? Yeah, I got a 1 yes. Awesome.
I'm close enough.
Okay. All righty, let's go to the next step. All right, so I do it. Okay, so I orient mine this way specifically. So your middle ones, middle rings are stacked so that they're going up. Like this next one is over the bottom one. So that's how I stack it when I start. Oh, I'm gonna get another color of rings too. Find some red ones. Let's do orange. It'll be an interesting combination. Okay. Does everybody know what an eye is in chainmail?
Mhm.
So this right here, where the rings overlap, there's a little eye shape, like your eyeball, or the, not your eyeball, but your eye. So when I say go through the eye or go around the eye, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so Dragonback is through the eye, around the eye. That's what you do. So say that to yourself. So when I do this, I pick this up and I have it facing me. And I scoop up through the eye. And then you go around the next eye. So basically you're scooping up through the first eye. And you're just going down through the third ring, not the second ring. Okay, so I'm gonna do it again. Oops. Scoop up through that first eye that is formed by rings 1 and 2. Rotate and scoop down through the third ring. And close your ring. So when I lay it down, we're oriented the way we were in the beginning. You should have a somewhat vertical ring. It's not going to stand up straight, but it is somewhat vertical ring. And it's going through the eye of the first 2 and around the eye of the second 2. Anybody have any problems, questions about that? Okay. Yes, like in HP 3-in-1. That's basically what you're doing, is edging your European 4-in-1 with HP 3-in-1. All right, so I'm going to pick this back up again. I just find it easier to work with it facing me, but you can do it however works for you. So the next ring, okay, you're going to be stacking on the outside of the ring you just put in. Again, so now you're working in rings 2 and 3. So you're going to scoop up. Let me see if I can get this to sit better. There, you want the eye of rings 2 and 3, because you're going to scoop up through that eye, making sure you're outside of that first ring. And then you're going to scoop down through ring 4. Okay, I'm going to do it again. Oops. This is, okay, there we go. So you're scooping up between the eye in rings 2 and 3, and you're scooping down into ring 4. Okay, close the ring. Now I'm going to sit it down so you can see what it looks like. You see these 2 rings. These are the 2 rings we just put in, and they are stacking out or up. So the vertical rings never go through each other. They only go through the horizontal rings, okay? And that's pretty much what this is. So through the eye, around the eye. So now I'm rings 3 and 4, scooping down through ring 5. And if these were to stand up, that's what they would look like. So let's go ahead and continue going down the side. So next string through the eyes, or the eye of those 2 rings, scoop down through the next. Something does not look right here. So aside from any spiral weaves, which I absolutely can't do, are there any other weaves that people are interested in learning? I can do like one section of Moorish rows with a tutorial. Spirals just hurt my brain for some reason. Maybe we'll do Persian dragon scale next, since it's so similar to this. Or heck, if we have time, I can show you how to do it.
Jody, can you hold your piece in your hands?
Yep.
You don't have to lay it out. Okay. I want to make sure it's going the right way. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully early next week, there will be a tutorial released for one of my crystal Rivoli captures. If anybody here likes to capture crystals. Whoops. Okay. Don't make this mistake. Look what I did. I wasn't paying attention. And I put it through my center ring. Don't do that. It's bad. I'll mess you up. It's just bad. Almost did it again. So if you want to use this piece to continue, like if you're going to extend this piece, it's fine if you go all the way to the end, or you can leave a couple just European 4-in-1 at the end, so then you can extend it. Either way, it's not a huge deal. So just keep that in mind.
I hadn't looked up in a second, and I've been going along on both sides at the same time. Is that going to be a problem later?
It shouldn't be, as long as you've done the other side the same way. Like it didn't get, yeah, that's fine. Not a problem. Yeah, and first, if it works better for you to go back and forth to do both sides, do it.
Just seem to keep it a little tighter and keep it from
Yeah.
pulling apart.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to do these last few rings on mine, and then we will move to the other side. So watch when you get to the end, because like I said, the aspect ratio for this is kind of big. So you may have like a piece of gridlock on the end because it got flipped. So if it looks like this, this is not right. Don't continue. You need to flip your ring back so that everything's flat. All right. Okay, is everybody done with one side? So we'll move to the other.
No, but close enough.
Okay. All right, so double check to make sure that your vertical, your HP 3-in-1 vertical rings are stacked properly. Make sure you don't have one that got wonky and got twisted or whatever. Okay, so when I do the other side, I do the opposite. I do up through the third ring. So I'm holding it. This is the end I started on. I have that away from me now. And this is just the way I do it. If it works for you to flip it or however you want to do it, but this just works for me and my brain. So I go up through the third ring and down through the eye of the first and second rings. So let me do it again. Up through the third ring, around the eye, and into the eye of the first and second rings. And what you want to see is that it is mirroring the first ring on the other side. So you don't want it to be like up here. If you've got a ring up here, that's not right. So then we'll go up through the fourth ring, down through rings 2, down through the eye of rings 2 and 3. So once you get the hang of this, when you kind of say, you know, around the eye, through the eye, it's pretty quick weave. Well, let's see what happened. Oh, yes. Okay, wait a minute. Jennifer, dragon scale. What was that? I missed that. What were you asking?
Just curious if that's what you wanted to do next.
Oh, I can. Like regular dragon scale?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, that one's confusing to a lot of people. It actually took me a while to get that one. And then I actually learned a better way to do it so that you're not fighting the rings. Yeah.
Right answer.
Huh?
Finding the better way to do it is the right answer.
Yeah. All right, and let's see, Kara. For anyone who doesn't know, for anyone who does Rivoli captures in Nintendo, yeah, Swarovski is discontinuing most of their Rivolis, which kind of sucks. I have tested some of mine. I have a bunch of captures I wrote on my own that will now be probably going through TRL once I get some custom size rings made. So when I was doing those, I also tested some with Preciosa crystals. This was a while back. They're slightly different from Swarovski. They have, it's almost like when you put the two, if you think of the Rivoli as two pieces, when you get to the side part of it, the Preciosa are like thicker a little bit. They're just shaped a tiny bit differently. So, and I came across, can't remember the names of them now, but there were 2 other companies that make crystals as well. I've never used them, but I was going to look into them to see. We only sell 18mm Rivolis or Rivolis. I don't know how other people say it, on the website. We only have one right now. It's the Crystal AB, which is beautiful. If you ever use the AB crystals, they have that really pretty, like, I don't know, sheen on them. So we sell one already. It's the Grid Box Capture. And this one, I can show you, I actually have it right here, is called Destiny Squared, because I have one that's called Destiny. It's a 3-prong or 3-armed capture, but we don't sell the correct sizes. So I need to have those made before we can sell them. I actually have, gosh, I have to look at the tutorial, but I have a bunch. This works with a bunch of different size crystals. We just don't sell them. So once we do, I'll add to it. But they look really pretty as pendants, and I think I made some small enough to make earrings from. All right, is everybody getting to the end of their piece? I'll be done here in a second. So who works in scales? Jennifer, I know you guys work in like a ton of scales.
Yes, we do. It's actually nice to pick up and do some jewelry for a change.
Yeah. Who else does scales? Anybody?
I made some scale armor for my cat.
Oh, awesome. You should send us a picture of it or post it on our in the forum or on our Facebook page.
Absolutely.
I do a little on scales, not much. Just
Did anybody see? Oh, I don't remember if it was scales now. This was probably like a year ago, maybe. Somebody did their bearded dragon an outfit. I can't remember if it was, I think it was tiny scales. And then we just recently had the pigeons that
That's so cool.
she had made tiny scale armor for. It was adorable. Oops, missed my eye there. All right. Got two more. Okay. Guys ready to move on to the next step? Okay, so we now need to stitch this up. So what you want to do, let me get another color so you can see it. I will get frost. All right, I start from the right side, and you're going to be, this is just like making European 4-in-1. So if you only look at my orange rings, those are the only rings that are involved in this next step. So just the rings that you just put on. All right, so I take it, you're going through the eye. Let me see if I can get a better angle. All right, so on one side, the side closest to you, you're going through that eye, formed by rings 1 and 2. See? You're scooping across, and you're going through eye from rings 1 and 2 on the other side. So it's literally just like making 4-in-1, and then close it. So it should look like this, and it's going to face to the right. It should lay to the right. It's laying the other way, you're not making it right. So make sure it lays that way, assuming that yours is stacked like mine.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay, so I'm going to do it again. So now I'm going to go through rings 2 and 3, the eye of rings 2 and 3. And the eye of rings 2 and 3 on the other side. Oh, sorry, I'm out of focus. Okay, I'm going to close it.
Backwards.
So you just want to make sure that they are stacking. The one that you put in is stacking on top of the one that you did previously. Make really sure that you're only going through the top, my orange rings, the top rings. Otherwise, I'm sure there's a weave for that. I'm sure it's been discovered, but that's not Dragonback. All right. So just through the eye of both sides. So you can also make European 6, I think it's 6-in-1. It's either 6-in-1 or 8-in-1, and then do this same thing, and it's called what, Alligator River, I think, something like that. I think it does this, or let me look it
Don't
up.
pick it up yet.
Huh?
Don't pick it up yet.
Okay,
Come backwards.
I'm gonna look up Alligator River chain, or maybe Alligator Back. Let's see.
When you do it, you do the, your orange rings are closest to each other, right? You don't see a middle, roughly.
Right.
Okay.
It's just the ones that are sitting on top.
Okay.
And they, yeah, I mean, they almost touch in the middle. You could force them to touch and then capture them like that.
Going the wrong way.
And sometimes they look a little wonky. You might just have to kind of pull up on it to make sure it's not like stuck down in the thing. Okay, let's see. I don't think that's what I'm thinking of. Oops. Okay, how long did I get? Okay. Here we go. Alligator Back. That's what I'm thinking. Not sure. Okay, anyway. I'm pretty sure there's a 6-in-1 or 8-in-1 version of this. So this is it. I mean, once you've put these center rings on, you've made Dragonback. And if you've ever made the dragons, the dragon tutorial that we sell, you kind of without, I'm trying to say, this is European 4-in-1 with the HP 3-in-1 sides. And then it's kind of stitched up. You don't use one ring, you put scales instead. But if you can do this, you can do this, you can make a dragon. These are a lot tighter. So these use 16-gauge 1/4-inch rings, which is way, way tighter and can be difficult to do because it's so tight. But all right, but yeah, that's it for Dragonback. So you get this when you're adding your last strings, you get this, that's where you get your definitive kind of ridge along the top. And you can add, think about what kind of, I usually use lobster clasps on these. I'm sure you could use toggles or whatever you want. Whoops. But when let me show you how I put a pleasure on it. I basically just go through these last strings. Let me take this off and show you. So you've got these kind of hangy rings. You can take any rings that hang off the ends, you can take off, that's fine. But I kind of go through these last 2 rings on the side and the last 2 rings on the other side, and already have my clasp on here. And then I just close it. And it kind of just continues to weave a little bit. And then I usually just put these little extenders on. Sorry, I'm kind of out of focus. You don't have to. You can actually clasp this onto the last ring. You don't have to add any extra rings to this if you don't want to. But these make really nice bracelets, this weave, because it's flat. It makes really nice chokers because it's flat. If you make clothing, you could use it like as bra straps because it's flat. Like if you tried to use Persian dragon scale, you could, but it doesn't sit nicely because it's not flat, and I think it would be kind of irritating on the skin because it's not hugely poofy, but it is poofy. The only thing I don't think it makes nice, I don't think it makes nice earrings. I think you'd have to put something on the bottom, like a dangle or something. But otherwise, it makes great belts. It makes nice collars, all kinds of stuff. So if you wanted to add to this, you would literally just continue your European 4-in-1 at whatever end you wanted to. Let me just close a couple rings. Cool.
I like it's reversible.
That's another thing that's really nice about this, and that's kind of why I did it in all these colors, so you could see where the rings show up. So you can see that you kind of see your center rings, those purple rings. You definitely see your blue rings, but when you turn it over, you know, it kind of changes what you see.